Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. We're very excited to have you. And we're even more excited to have Blanca with us tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and get started and just start by introducing everybody to Blanca Polanco from New Sanctuary Movement, who is going to be presenting tonight. And I'll be like jumping in on things. And thank you, Jarrett, for managing the tech stuff over there. And I'm going to just start with a reflection that we've actually used a number of times in some of our meetings with New Sanctuary. So Blanca, thank you for sharing that with me. And I'm just going to read it if people want to just kind of take a moment and listen as we center ourselves. This is from Oscar Romero, from Archbishop Oscar Romero, and it's entitled Prophets of a Future Not Our Own. It helps now and then to step back and take a long view. The kingdom is not only beyond our efforts, it is even beyond our vision. We accomplish in our lifetime only a tiny fraction of the magnificent enterprise that is God's work. Nothing we do is complete, which is a way of saying that the kingdom always lies beyond us. No statement says all that could be said. No prayer fully expresses our faith. No confession brings perfection. No pastoral visits brings wholeness. No program accomplishes the church's mission. No set of goals and objectives includes everything. This is what we are about. We plant the seeds that one day will grow. We water seeds already planted, knowing that they hold future promise. We lay foundations that will need further development. We provide yeast that produces far beyond our capacities, our capabilities. We cannot do everything, and there is a sense of liberation in realizing that. This enables us to do something and to do it very well. It may be incomplete, but it is a beginning, a step along the way, an opportunity for the Lord's grace to enter and do the rest. We may never see the end results, but this is the difference between the master builder and the worker. We are workers, not master builders, ministers, not messiahs. We are prophets of a future, not our own.
Nice.
I just thought that would, Blanca and I both thought that that would be a good way to begin. As we know, there are many tasks ahead of us that can seem pretty overwhelming. So if we take that perspective, we're in good shape. So, Jarrett, can we start the slide? Sure. Oh, do we want to introduce everybody first, Blanca? Okay, so I'm going to call people out based on the boxes. Hopefully the boxes don't move too much. I'm going to start with Marnie Kerr. Can you go ahead and just share your name, share where you're from, and maybe one word or two about why you're interested in the topic we're talking about today.
Okay, I'm Marnie Kerr, and I am a member of St. Martin's, and I have recently joined the driving committee. I don't have the whole title anyway, the driving committee of NSM, and we'll be hoping to do some work with them.
Jean?
Should I call the next person?
No, I'll do it just because
Okay.
it's confusing. Jean, you share a little bit about yourself, your name, where you're from?
I'm Jean McKenzie. I'm from St. Martin's Church. I've been interested in sanctuary work for years, but I've ended up doing other sometimes related things. And so I was thrilled to find that St. Martin's had some involvement, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about that.
Thank you, Jean. Carol, would you like to share a little bit?
I'm Carol Duncan. I'm the deacon at St. Martin's. I'm interested mainly because Marnie Kerr kept emailing and saying, this is really important, you got to be here. And I'm on community engagement, so I know it's really important.
Thank you, Carol. Susan Mcbride. I think there might be more than one Susan.
I'm Susan Mcbride, and I was part of the original Refugee Resettlement Group and worked with the DeHaan family when they first came, and we've been searching for a new direction since they're, and this is the new direction we've decided to go right now. So I'm very engaged with finding our opportunities with New Sanctuary. So I enjoyed hearing Blanca before. I'm looking forward to hearing you again.
Thank you, Susan. Andrew?
My name's Andrew Chrisman, and I'm relatively new to the St. Martin's community here. And one of the things that brought me here was its active ministry, particularly in the area of social justice for our immigrant neighbors. And I know the New Sanctuary movement because I used to teach on York and Dauphin at a school called El Centro de Estudiantes, and Pastor Adan was one of the mentors of my students. So I got really excited to see that there was going to be a connection between these two communities here. And it seemed like a great crossing of paths. I love what New Sanctuary does in terms of bearing witness to injustices that happen, particularly when police come to the doors of folks.
Thank you, Andrew. Diane Pierce, hi. Would you guys like to introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Diane Pierce, and I came because I'm part of the Power, our local Power group with Carol, and I just want to learn as much as I can because it's a topic I'm very interested in and have a lot of care about. And
I'm Nate Pierce, and Diane and I pretty much share the same views on many, if not all things, and certainly the issue of sanctuary for refugees, or the whole refugee issue, is one of importance.
Thank you both. Elizabeth?
Hi, I'm Beth Tenhave. I'm a member of St. Martin's. I was interested in the work that the Refugee Resettlement Group was doing, which was happening as I was joining St. Martin's, and I didn't have a chance really to get involved. So I thought I would see what this was about.
Okay, next on my screen is Laura Birdsall.
I'm somewhat new to the St. Martin's community, going not quite 2 years. I have not done any work in the sanctuary movement, but I've always admired it, and I'm here to learn more.
Thank you. Terry Clattenburg?
Terry Clattenburg. I'm with St. Martin's and a member of the Community Engagement Committee, and also member of our Guatemala Companion Parish Committee. So I'm sort of interested in both ends of the migration problem. So I want to learn more about sanctuary, New Sanctuary.
Thank you. Barbara? Gurley?
Hi, I'm Barbara Gurley. I'm from Live Free of Power, and I think that's why I was invited. My congregation is Old First Reformed United Church of Christ, and I'm just here to learn more about the New Sanctuary movement and the rights of immigrants.
Thank you. Lynn.
Hi, everybody. I'm Lynn Buckheit, and I also, with Marnie, and Susan have been involved with the refugee resettlement here at St. Martin's, where I've been a member, and also have enjoyed being part of some aspects of Power. And I'm very excited to meet Blanca again. The last time it seems like it's too long since we've seen her. So I'm really looking forward. And now with the committee under Tanya here at St. Martin's, I'm very eager, and with President Biden on board, everything is looking like, oh, we just want to get started. So thanks so much for coming and talking with us again.
Thank you, Lynn. Victoria?
There. I'm Victoria Six, and I'm a member of St. Martin's. This field of social justice, this aspect of social justice is quite new to me, so I am here to learn.
Wonderful, thank you. Kate?
I'm Kate Moss. I'm also a St. Martin's member and on the Community Engagement Committee. And I helped form the Refugee Resettlement Group way back in the very beginning, and then left it to other people. But I have stayed interested. And I, like Lynn, am thinking, okay, I think we might have a shot under the current administration at developing some kind of rational immigration policy. So I'm anxious to learn about, I said to the committee, I figure this is an opportunity for us to educate ourselves about immigrant rights issues, because I think we're going to have more opportunities.
Thank you, Kate. Rich?
Hi, I'm Rich Hemmer. I've been coming to St. Martin's the last few years. I guess we were going to Germantown Mennonite when Kamala came there, so I have met her and her family a few times. So I'm interested because of her.
Thank you, Rich. Joan?
You're muted, Joan.
There it goes. It happened.
Here. Thank you. This is something I don't know much about. I haven't been involved in the refugee resettlement, but I'm very interested, so I want to learn about it.
Thank you. Eric?
Hi, I'm Eric Smith. I'm also from St. Martin's and part of the Community Engagement Committee. My wife, this is the interest of my wife and me. We work in preschools and charter schools throughout the city and have come into contact with a number of immigrant families. And I know we've supported some of the sanctuary work at FUMCOG down the road. So I'm just interested to learn more. Same thing, like with the new administration, some renewed hope, and interested to learn where we could dig in and get to work.
Amen. Thank you, Eric. Jane? Not sure. Jane Camp, maybe? Okay, I'm gonna skip to Susan Thompson.
I'm Susan Thompson, and I'm a member of Congregation Live Higher and Power Live Free. I'm on the Immigration and Committee and Detention Committee with Tanya, and I'm here to learn.
Thank you so much, Susan. Fran Gilmore?
Yeah, hi, I'm Fran. I come from really a human rights perspective. I've been involved in teaching in a prison, anti-prison work, and I'm involved in a group now called Put People First PA, which fights for healthcare as a human right. I've always been interested in this issue, but I've never actually been directly involved in it. And I'm hoping that you don't have to be a church member, which I'm not, to be involved. Okay, that's good. So I'm also looking forward to learning more about it, and especially since we got rid of 45, and so there's hope now that we might actually have immigration and asylum again.
Thank you so much, Fran. Great. I'll just try Jane one more time if she wants to try. And if not, we'll move to the PowerPoint. Oh, wait, Jared, Reverend Jared. Want to introduce yourself?
It's okay. I'm your AV guy tonight, that's all. I'm Jared Kerbel. I'm the rector of Church of St. Martin the Fields, and very, very proud and pleased of the work of Refugee Resettlement, and very excited about this new beginning with New Sanctuary Movement. Very exciting.
Tanya?
Yes?
Tanya, can everyone put their emails into the chat so that we have a record of their emails?
Sure, although I think we might have them already with the registration.
Oh, okay, fine. Then that's great.
Captured them with the registration, yeah.
Okay, great.
So, yeah, and we're going to follow up, just so you keep your eyes out for it, to the emails that you registered with the PDF of the PowerPoint that we're showing you tonight, so that you have all of the numbers and emails and things on there. Contact information. Okay, so let us begin.
Okay, here comes the share.
So here's just our exciting title page of New Sanctuary Movement. And this is part of our community conversations here at St. Martin's. And yes, the work we're doing with New Sanctuary and immigrant justice is open to anybody who wants to participate with us from anywhere. Here's a little, maybe we can see it all in one thing, about Blanca, just a little background information as just before she begins. Blanca is a single mom, originally from Ecuador, although I keep trying to make her from Peru, apparently. And she's lived in Philadelphia for 20 years. I can definitely attest to the fact that she is a passionate community organizer and has been working with immigrant communities since 2006. She's program coordinator at Open Borders Project, and she taught computer classes and coordinated the education program. She is a founding member of NSM, which is short for New Sanctuary Movement. You probably figured that out already. And she's helped to create the Know Your Rights training, which is really exciting, and the Storytelling Project, attended the New Leadership School. And she joined the board in 2012 and then came on as a community organizer, which is very fortunate for all of us. And she's been part of the successful campaign to stop collaboration between Philadelphia Police and ICE, and organizes for sanctuary campaigns, such as the one I'm on with Carmela, and has helped to grow the organization over the last 12 years, which has been very exciting. And just some new opportunities for us for Faith in Action. It's an interfaith, multicultural immigrant rights organization led by immigrants in Philadelphia, which is why our ministry was so interested in this particular organization. And together with congregations who covenant with New Sanctuary Movement, we put faith into action and uphold the values of hospitality, dignity, and justice for immigrants in our community. We're going to learn about what that means for us. But this is all very new and exciting for us. And I'm very thankful to the support of the vestry and other members of our congregation that helped make it so that we can move forward with this. So thank you.
Thank you for having me again. For me, it's a pleasure to be here. Many times when I end up having these conversations with different communities and different projects we're working on, always comes to my mind, how did I ended up here? So, because I left my country 20 years ago, and my plan as an immigrant in my head was, I'm going to go for 3 years, I'm going to be rich, and I'll be back. It's been 20 years. So here I am. So as Tanya was sharing, I wanted to share a little bit of what does it mean for a congregation to be in covenant with NSM. And some of the talking points that you see is put faith into action. That's why we organize with faith congregations. Right now we have 32 faith congregations as part of NSM. And what it means is that, you know, you go to church, you pray, but then when you come out after your service, there's always something we're doing to make this world better. So in this case, we're always looking for people to put their faith into action, into welcoming immigrants to the city. And what that actually means for NSM is like working to make sure that immigrants live a life with dignity, that there's hospitality for them, and for everybody that comes to the city or the state or the country to feel welcomed. And that's some of our values: hospitality, dignity, and justice for immigrants in our community. And what that means for us is that we are including those communities in all of the spaces that NSM does the work, because we do need them to represent themselves, to represent their needs, to learn how to organize, to connect, to build community. And that their voices are important, and that they bring knowledge, and that they bring their presence as well. And that we work as a bigger community supporting each other. I always say that, probably said it in the last meeting, like our skills, our experiences, and the things that I know didn't end it when we crossed the border. So we do bring a lot of expertise and knowledge to the table. And in NSM, we're making sure that immigrants are always included. So that's what it means that we treat immigrants with dignity and hospitality. And that also means like having language access. NSM has worked really hard, and all of our spaces are usually bilingual, and sometimes it has been trilingual, to make sure that everyone's voices is represented. And then through all of this, putting faith in action, including immigrants and allies and everybody in the table, also build a new community that is based on mutuality, and that we support each other, and with the understanding that all of us have something to learn, and all of us have something to contribute. None of us, as the prayer said at the beginning, have all the answers or know everything, but we can learn from each other, and sometimes life experiences can teach us a lot. So we focus our work in like personal relationships amongst diverse religions, ethics, and cultural groups and understanding, and that, as I said, already includes language as well. I'm going to keep going, Tanya, but if there's something that for some reason I need to stop or slow down, please feel free to. I usually a fast talker. But how people may ask, like, how do I put my faith into action, right? And the model of New Sanctuary Movement is that we do have some programs and campaigns that we work on. And one of the talking points, as you see, is participate in current campaigns. I think we are in slide 5. I'm following my own slide, so I'm not sure if like Jared is putting the slides for you all.
Yeah.
Great. So participate in current campaigns. The current campaigns we're working on, I will be showing a little bit more below, and the next slides are we've been working to respond to the COVID need for our communities, and we immediately turned to do everything virtual and organize the immigrant communities and listen to them to figure out what were their needs, and have done like a lot of fundraising for help with paying rent, and has also done food distribution, and also making sure that people don't feel isolated, but that we have weekly spaces with everybody from the community are coming together. And we have been bringing together the Latino communities, the Indonesian community, as well as the Afro-Caribbean communities that has been, like, after the Thompson took sanctuary in Fumcag, had been less afraid to participate in spaces. We also have the sanctuary campaign. As you might already heard, we won two campaigns last year. So Yapa Reyes that was living in Fumcag, and the Thompsons that were living for a period of time in Fumcog and then moved to Tabernacle Church. So they are, their cases have been, their deportation has ended, and we won those 2 campaigns. We're still working on Carmela's case, the sanctuary campaign. We'll share a little bit more later. We are working on a driver's license campaign, and I'll share more later, and also working on defending the ICE-hold victory. That was part of my bio, which means that we do not want the police to collaborate with immigration. Before, whenever an immigrant was arrested or stopped for any reason, they were being turned to ICE without any rule or regulation that will stop them. And the other thing is taking part in accompaniment program. We accompany people to immigration courts, family court, criminal court, because we believe that everybody deserves a second chance. And also people who are detained at York, and have assisted many times of people who have been arrested in different detention centers like Georgia, that are coming to Philly and have looked for help here in Philly. And the third one, I think, Tanya, this is something.
Something on that. So I didn't really talk about this too much, but and there are definitely other people on this in this meeting that have had more experience with the history. But originally, this ministry started around this Syrian crisis, and is actually titled Refugee Resettlement Ministry. But as we know, refugee resettlement pretty much has disappeared. Obviously, the new administration now is working to rebuild that. But that's when we began to expand our look beyond the politics of what defines refugee, to include immigrants who are here in all different kinds of ways, and to work on immigrant justice issues. So if you are interested in being part of our ministry, please just let me know later on. We will be sharing our contact information.
And if we go to the next slide, some of the structure that NSM, it's like working because the needs of the different areas of the work keeps expanding, is that we have formed a working committee around each campaign and each program that we're working on. So for example, the sanctuary campaign, and if I can share a little bit about how Carmela came to our doors. She came to our doors back in 2017, after she shares the story very powerfully, right before like a month or less than a month before Christmas. And she was knocking on churches' doors. He knocked like 10 or 15 churches, trying to find sanctuary. Nobody wanted to give it to her because not everybody has experience doing that work, until somebody sent it to NSM. So at the beginning of December 2017, she took sanctuary at Church of the Advocate. And she has been fighting her deportation case because her asylum case was denied, and she was ordered deported with her 4 children. She came to our doors and said that if she gets deported, if she decides to leave, she will be killed. Some of her family members have been killed back in Mexico, and her family themselves were attacked by the cartels and had to flee. One of her daughters, and I'm sharing because I've asked permission from her to share. One of her daughters still has like a consequence of the attack that they suffer. One of her fingers is twisted as she was hit. So she turned herself at the border, and she was granted entrance to fight for asylum, but finally her asylum case was denied. And she just couldn't go back. The ICE told her that she needed to buy her tickets and leave. So she decided to take sanctuary. And back in 2019, Church of the Advocate pass the baton to Germantown Mennonite, and she has been living there ever since. There are a couple of strategies that the lawyer from Free Migration Project, ourselves, and Carmela, and one of our promoters meet bi-weekly to plan action to push her case. She was victim of a crime, and we're looking for a U visa for her. So we have been pushing legislators to show their support, as well as now we are pushing ICE here in Philly to grant a stay of deportation for at least 2 years or defer action that will grant her a work permit while he waits for the results of the U visa. And I know that Tanya is part of that team. Maybe you want to share a little bit about the space?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, we've had it on our in our announcements and field notes, and put out the action for others to take part in. And members of our ministry have also made calls and done emails. And I know Rich was involved even before I was in supporting Carmela. I just want to tell a real quick story. We met with her yesterday. We meet every other week. And I don't know, everyone was kind of down. I think, I'm not sure what it is, like maybe, after the shift, then there's so much work to do to undo the damage that has happened over the last 4 years. And the most amazing thing about Carmela is she was worried about us. So she shared a story that had given her hope so that we would have hope too. And, we've been in a pandemic for a year, and she's been in sanctuary for over 3. So we can personally, imagine a little bit more what it's like to be in sanctuary for so long. So I'm just really grateful for everyone who's made calls, for everyone who's sent emails. And I know that pretty soon we're going to have success for Carmela as well, and her 4 children. So just wanted to share that.
Yeah, she's a powerhouse, and she has learned so much about campaign and work, and she's always really hopeful, and she's a pleasure to work with. There's a lot of things that we do, and different people have taken different roles to support her, to take their children to the doctors, to support them with homework, to support them with donations, with the campaign work. But she's a powerhouse. So it is, somebody who always lifts up our spirits, even though she is stuck in church. So then that's the sanctuary. And if we can go to the next slide, that's one way that people can engage. The other that Margaret Marnie mentioned about is a driver's license campaign. We have been working in this campaign for a while and learning a lot. And really our work has been, how do we build power around the state to make sure that we actually pass the bill that we want? Not only what legislators might want, but actually the bill that we want. And we have used a lot of the time to listen to the community, what is actually a safe bill that will allow us to drive legally, but also not a bill that will actually put us in danger. So we wrote the bill ourselves with a coalition of 17 organizations around the state. And you can see some of their names in this picture. We wrote the bill ourselves, and we wanted to make sure to include 3 things. One, that the driver's license that we are able to obtain is not marked. It doesn't look different than Tanya's or Terry or Margaret, that looks exactly the same. So it's not used by the police to racially profile us. And now in Pennsylvania, it's actually good because we now have a tier, which was work that we did underground to make sure that there's 2 tiers of driver's licenses. You might know already that you can get the standard driver's license, the one that you have always gotten, and the one with the real ID that have more like security items in it and you can use for traveling. So we are advocating for the standard driver's license. Second is that we want a driver's license that we want the data, our data, that whenever we go to Pendant or to apply for a driver's license, we don't want our data to be shared with any company. And we have discovered that our data, not only the citizens' data at this point, because we're unable to get a driver's license, is being sold to many companies. And we don't want our data to be available to ICE, so it could be used to deport us. So that language, we are putting it on the bill. And the third is that we want to make sure that it allows immigrants to use an IT number. I don't know if you're familiar what that is, but immigrants like myself can get an IT number. It's a paying tax number. It looks very similar to the Social Security. It has a set of 8 numbers. It always starts with a 9. And the only thing that is good for is to pay taxes and to open a business. It's good for nothing else. So we're saying, let us use that number to get our driver's license. And also in addition, let us use a mix of different documents that identified us to get a driver's license. So we successfully introduced legislation last week. We're having a press conference about it tomorrow. And we introduced the legislation with bipartisan support, which has always been our goal, because we know that only with Democrats, we're not going to win. So we introduced with, right now it has 30 co-sponsors. 2 of them are Republicans, and we are really pushing for the representative from Pottstown, Representative Hennessy, to also support, because he's the chair of the Transportation Committee. So there's a lot of like technical information, and I will go too deep in it. But this committee meets every other Thursday at 5:30 p.m. So, and we're going to be calling for action to call your legislator to ask for support, to write letters. And we are gearing for, after tomorrow, we're gearing for 40 days of action. So there's some way that you can put some type of action. You can join the committee, or you can be listening from NSM, from Tanya, from Arnie, like what are the things that you can do?
So just to speak to that, one of the things we're going to do is create a listserv where you can get notifications on actions, just because I know sometimes it gets a little confusing when you're getting notifications from a lot of different places. So we'll try to consolidate. If that's a help to you, we can put you onto the listserv, or you can sign yourself up for the listserv, and I'll send you more information about that later. I also wanted to give you a little context. In New York, people already are able to get driver's licenses or IDs. And in New Jersey, they passed the law recently. Now, every state has slightly different details. As you can tell, the good thing about this coalition is they've learned a lot from watching what other states are passing. But New Jersey is going to be implementing theirs in May. This is something that existed before 9/11, before the Patriot Act. It used to be people could get their driver's licenses and IDs. So in a lot of ways, hopefully this is restorative. Anything else on that?
No, that if you do want to be part of the committee, you can email my coworker Maria Chavez or myself, and we can put you in our listserv that we have specifically for that committee. And what that means is that you're going to attend regular meetings. You're going to learn more about the campaign, and you could be, if you like, the point person for your own congregation or your own representatives to help implement the statewide strategy in action that we are putting together. So that's what it means.
Yep, thank you. I also wanted to point out all the different organizations. One of them that we also have been collaborating with and learned about because of New Sanctuary Movement is Juntos. And that has given us the opportunity to do a diaper drive and to help immigrants, mostly in the South Philly area, who are really struggling through the pandemic. So if you are interested more in some hands-on stuff where you can, and you're comfortable with being outside with a mask, socially distanced, handing out diapers and boxes of food, that's a way to get involved in a different way.
Great. And I will go and we will have a chance for questions at the end. So we're just trying to cover this PowerPoint, and then if there are questions, we're happy to respond. But then the other on the slide 8, the other thing that we are gearing up to work on more intentional is immigration reform. And we are gearing members from the Indonesian community, the Afro-Caribbean, and the Latino community to form a team that will come together with action plans around immigration reform and our messaging and stuff like that. We don't know yet when that team will meet, but if you are interested in that particular team, it will be the similar setting that the sanctuary and the driver's license team. It will mean meeting every other week for an hour and a half, and helping us implement the action on that area of the work. I did want to make a point between the connection between driver's license and immigration reform, that you know, some people might feel, oh, immigration reform might pass and then driver's license will not going to be needed necessarily that much, because if we get our permits, we might have access to driver's license. But the thing is that we don't know if that's going to happen. Honestly, I've been here 20 years undocumented myself, and has like, I was feeling that, oh my God, this is going to happen this time. And then I reminded myself that back in 2006, it was very similar and it never passed. It's 2021 and it has not passed. And even if it passes, a lot of people are going to be left out. And we do still have that need of like legislation here in the state. That's that about immigration reform. That's on the building. So if you like to join, Peter Pedemonte, my coworker, the other co-director, will be leading that committee with other people from the community. So you're welcome to join. And if I go to number 9, ICE Out of Courts has been, we're working in coalition with other groups like CLS, NSC, the criminal defender, juntos, to make sure that we monitor that police and ICE are not collaborating in some of the areas that we have noticed, that whenever people run into trouble with the police, when they're going to court, ICE has been showing up and taking people from there. So we have been working with the sheriff and with the city officials to make sure that that's not happening, and they have clear policies. Some of the people that have gone to court and are going to part of their sentence is going for probation. They go inside and they don't come back. And after a little while, we learned that there's an ICE office inside the same building. I don't think that's the case anymore, but that's how we learned that people, whenever they were going to probation, they were being turned down to ICE immediately. So that's something that we are monitoring and watching and making sure that that is not happening again. And if I go to slide number 10, community fund for bond and legal support came out of a couple families that their husbands or themselves were detained at York and had to pay high bonds. The bonds when you are detained by immigration are from $7,500 up to $50,000, and that needs to be paid in full. It's not like the criminal cases that you can pay 10% and you will be released. If the judge said you need to pay $10,000, you will need to pay the entire amount in order to be released. So there's a team of 15 families that have been working on that. And also we realized that a lot of people ended up not going to immigration hearings or following the processes because they're afraid and they don't have the first deposit to pay a lawyer. So a lot of people were losing their chance to advocate for their asylum cases. So we support families. Right now our fund is kind of dry, but we have supported families to paying up to $1,500 to first deposit for a lawyer to be able to retain them. And also we collaborate with the National Bail Fund around immigration to find funds when we don't have them. So the image is showing that the last action that the committee did was a tamale sale before they were doing monthly bingo nights. And people will come and play bingo and contribute some money and eat and build community. And that was the source where they were fundraising. But because of COVID, we haven't been able to be together. So they did a tamale drive. So in this case, it will be to be alert for calls to fundraising efforts or calls to support a particular family that is in detention. And it will mean just being alert to that. All of the families that participate are families from different countries, which is really good and sometimes challenging. When we had the first bingo night, everybody wanted to play bingo in their own way because each country plays different. So there we go.
It does give you also the opportunity to try tamales from many different countries.
Yes. We sold Guatemalan and Honduran tamales, and they went very fast. So, and it was very good plan where they were COVID safety. They used they cooked and they gave instructions to cook after for people who bought it because they were frozen. So it was safe.
And I can also say that this fund was a godsend when we had a young man who needed to get out of detention. And he was 20 years old. And this is a number of years ago, and the community fund helped us leverage some of the funds we had to get the young man out. So it's just really amazing.
Thanks, Tanya. And if we go to, we have 2 more slides to go, or 3. This is the number 11. When we talk about immigrant leadership, if you remember at the beginning, I was talking about how important it is to open the opportunities for the immigrant community to learn about this work, participate. I am part of the first cohort, the New Sanctuary Movement, they were training. And when I came, I was like, what am I doing here? And here I am. So it was important for me to, do that empowerment work, the teaching work. So we have the Promotoras program where immigrant members come to the space to learn to organize. And what it means is they meet every 2 weeks, I believe, to learn about, how do you organize? How do you prepare a good agenda? How do you facilitate? How does campaigns work? Tactics, all of the work that is inside of this. And down the road, we realized that if we want strong involvement from the community, there was some very great talents in the community, but they couldn't commit to do 5 to 10 hours of work every week if we didn't pay them. So we do give them a stipendium, and on top of the learning, they make some money as well to be able to support themselves. So Berta, who is the person who is helping me now with the action team for Carmela, who you, Tanya, probably have seen, she's stepping up a little bit more. She's part of the Promotoras cohort that has been learning, and she's really good.
Yeah, she did an excellent job managing our meeting yesterday.
Yes, so she's stepping up, and I'm really excited about that. And then they work hand in hand with organizers. Some of the promotoras work with Peter, some of them work with me, some of the others work with Mcbride. So we're kind of coaching and opening the opportunities for them. I also have Maria Chavez, who she is from Peru. She is helping me with the driver's license campaign. So she's co-leading the driver's license campaign team with me. And as I said, they get compensated for their time. We wanted Carmela to be part of that cohort too. Carmela has learned so much. If somebody wants to hire her to run a campaign like this, she's an expert. But she didn't have much time. Sometimes she got sick, sometimes she was down. So she didn't necessarily participate strongly on the trainings, but she doesn't need to. Her life is a campaign. So unfortunately. And then the accompaniment, as I mentioned before on slide 12, what it means is for people like you. Right now, because of COVID, courts are not happening that much. we're waiting on to see what is going to happen moving on. I'm sorry, my dog just acted up. You okay? Okay. So what it means is that in these moments, we're like realizing what is going to be after COVID. Court stops during the COVID lockdown. Courts were postponed. We are concerned about those courts being postponed, and after everything starts running, that there's going to be a lot of people that didn't receive new hearings, and then deportations are going to rise, or people being arrested are going to rise. So what it means for people like you is that you sign up for a team, and you will receive alerts whenever there's a court hearing, and you, based on your time and your availability, you can show up for that court. And what that does is that you bring your faith to a very powerful space that it's destroying people's lives and deporting them. So you show up in support of the family. Usually we do a prayer with the family themselves, or sometimes other people, 10 families in the full courtroom join for the prayer, which is really powerful. And judges see that there's community behind the family, and also lawyers feel more comfortable to not take advantage. So your presence is what is needed in those spaces. Your only presence has power. We are putting trainings together so you can stay alert for any trainings coming up. If that's a theme that is in your interest, you can become part of that training and that team that exists already.
And I can just talk real quickly. I know my father has, Paul Whitty has done this and has found it very rewarding. And in some ways I've done similar things since I was in college many, many years ago. And it's just such a valuable thing. And I think it's important to be a witness.
And with that, I think we can go to the last slide. And
so we just wanted to leave you with some information. And here's my email. Please feel free to reach out to me with any questions, or if you're looking for something that you can't find. Also, I wanted to give you a few places you can look. Obviously, there are plenty of ways to sign up for information directly from New Sanctuary Movement. Also, you can follow, please do. Misspelling there, typo, I don't know how that happened. But anyway, a New Sanctuary Movement on social media. They're on Facebook and Twitter. And then also check out their website. It's very well done. And then I also wanted to invite you to, if you're interested, become part of our ministry team here at St. Martin's. We meet once a month, and different people are engaged in different components. And obviously, we are expanding as a congregation the support and the work with being in covenant with New Sanctuary Movement. And if there's other, like I did not include the contact information for places like Juntos, but if you're interested in that, you can also email me and I can send you that information. We also are posting it on in field notes. Is it on the website as well, Jared? I don't know.
It should be. If it's in field notes, it's probably on the website.
So I think both the stuff about Carmela and the stuff about the diaper drives for Juntos are on the St. Martin's website, which I didn't include here. But if you need it, give me.
I'll put it in the chat when we go back.
Yeah. Okay, so we can move out of this and just more towards questions. And Blanca, you were thinking we would take a moment.
Yeah, I was thinking if like there's a lot of information that we just like put it out there. So it's okay if everything is not 100% clear. So I was thinking if we can take a minute or two in your own space or in your own in your own space, in your own square in Zoom, to think about three things. Like after hearing this, what stands out for you? And the other question is, what role do you think you can play, if any? And what type of help will you need in order to engage? Is there anything that would be helpful for you to engage? And if we can just take a minute to put the thoughts together, I'm going to write it on the chat as well.
So we're just going to take a minute. If people can, if you have a pen, paper, want to write something down, and we'll come back. I see people's heads starting to pop up. Anybody want to volunteer to share? Raise your hand. Go ahead, Andrew.
Hi. First of all, thank you, Blanca and Tanya, but thank you, Blanca, especially for just laying it out so clearly. Some thoughts I had was, it just makes me realize that I should maybe do things like commit like a certain number of hours. I never really monitor myself or like keep track, but maybe like if I actually make the commitment to do X number of hours a week of emailing and calling rather than just when the urge arises or the email comes, that might be a way to be more effective in this work. And then, so maybe making that commitment and being accountable to others by saying it out loud to them, what I'm doing. And the other was just educating myself more. I think I have to do a better job of reading articles and maybe sharing them with the group or something like that, so we can continue to know what's going on specifically in Philadelphia. And just getting on your website to look at the resources that you are suggesting that we read to educate ourselves, would be a great place to start. I'm personally interested in training to have a presence in courts when they happen. I think you raised the point that we don't know what's going to happen once everybody's back in person, but whatever it is, it's going to be different and intense, not to say it wasn't intense before, but I think it'll be helpful to have people ready. And then I guess from you all, it would be interesting to hear, Blanca, what you are thinking in terms of when you have relationships with congregations or groups like ours, whether we all consolidate our efforts behind one thing where you all need the most support, or you encourage us all as individuals to find what's working for us, and if that's okay too, you know, if it's a more diffused, all of us doing whatever it is that you're putting out there,
yeah,
kind of approach.
The hope is that you know, different people engage in the different areas of the work, and the dream is that like, let's say we have 4 campaigns, like 1 or 2 people from each congregation engage, and then comes and reports back, and like everybody in the congregation helps us to take action. It doesn't always work that way. Some people have interest in one particular area, and people find out about our actions through our emails. But I would say that if we have 4 areas of the work, we try to alternate the actions. So if we're having actions for like sanctuary these 2 weeks, we wouldn't do actions necessarily for driver's licenses, or like we always trying to stagger. So everybody can take action for everything when it comes, if that makes sense.
Thanks. Gracias.
Yeah, and we'll try to coordinate that. Anyone who's part of ministry, and then other people who might just be interested, who are part of our congregation or want to be associated. Anybody else want to share?
I have a question. Same I asked before about not being involved. It seems like most of the people here tonight are with St. Martin's, which is great. And it sounded like the committees are committees of St. Martin's, except perhaps the driver's license one and Juntos. Is that right?
No, all of the committees are NSM committees. So there are, like, the majority are members from congregations, but if you're interested in one particular committee, or all of them, because they're not in the same day,
right.
I'm not suggesting that you do that, but if you want to, you can join one of the committees. And yes, the majority are congregation members, but we do not close the doors to people who are not associated with the congregation.
Okay, great.
And when we're talking about congregation, how many congregations did you say there are?
32 congregations.
So we're just one of the new ones. Our group is Refugee Resettlement Ministry, RRM, at St. Martin's. But yeah, New Sanctuary Movement is its own entity. And most of the emails that were provided to join anything, they're from New Sanctuary Movement.
But also, Fran, you're welcome to come and join the St. Martin's Refugee Resettlement Committee. It's not exclusively, we've had people from other congregations be part of that right from the start. So if you're interested, please come.
And we do have a few people here who are not from St. Martin's as well.
Right. So, but all of these things we do with community. So it's not, you're welcome to join us, because what we do in the committee is talk about exactly what Blanca was suggesting, that if Lynn's been involved with one thing and Marnie's been involved with another and Tanya with another, we share, and Andrew with another, we share what we've done in the last month in relation to New Sanctuary, and encourage us to make the commitments to do the actions that are required. So it's kind of the way we support each other in our disparate activities with the New Sanctuary movement.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, Tanya, we've been meeting, what is it? It's usually been Thursdays.
Yeah, kind of usually lately. But once a month, and I can certainly send out the next few dates to people who are interested. And we would be thrilled to have anybody who is interested in just joining us in this effort. I think, to your point, Susan, which was an excellent one, doing this in community with others helps you keep going.
Yeah, that's a question that I have had too. I mean, I think it's wonderful that there are 32 congregations, and I think throughout Philadelphia, and I hope that there's some opportunity after the virus to get in touch with some of these people and meet with them, perhaps on Zoom or be part of, so that we are able to work together with other congregations in Philadelphia, which I think would be really valuable to us.
And if I can just do a shout out, Jane, I hope you don't mind. So Jane and I are both on the Live Free newest, smallest members of the Immigrant Justice Group, which Marnie has also been involved with in some ways. And that's just another way to try to connect to a larger community to get engaged. Any way we can get people involved in immigrant justice right now is really key. So.
Yeah, and one last thing I will say is like these spaces that NSM has, as I mentioned at the beginning, it's really important for us that the affected community engages as well. So you do have space to interact, and we do have, you know, like spaces where we call safe spaces, where like if somebody shares that they're undocumented or have a deportation case, stays there, and we do have like interpretation. So those are like interesting when you're not used to, you learn some other things and how to make sure that you still hear those voices, that you're still working with them, that you're still valuing their skills and their input.
Yeah, and that's what's so powerful about doing this with New Sanctuary Movement. It is just amazing.
And I'm going to add that having been to a couple of trainings, their trainings are wonderful. So if you're uncertain about whether you want to do any of these things, go to a training and you get all the information, you feel confident. And so it's a good way to start. You're just starting.
Okay.
Any other questions or responses that people might want to share in terms of the questions that Blanca was asking? Things that come to mind. And obviously, these are just some of the ideas. We will have opportunities to grow more ideas. As we go, one that Lynn and I have been talking about, because her background in English language learner, English as a second language, has been, is there a way for us to create one-on-one tutoring online right now during the pandemic?
Saw Jared's hand up.
I just put in the chat. I've wanted to be on the accompaniment group for a long time. So.
Great. I make sure we add it to the team. And we are like, as I share, we are like official, because the work has grown so much, we only can like do all of the work if we have working teams. So for accompaniment, we have had, we have like 200 to 300 people in the list that we send the alerts, but we haven't necessarily formed an official team. So we're working on that. And if that's something that is interested, I will add your information. Jared, if you can share your email with me, I'll be happy to share, to add it to our list.
Okay, thank you, Jared. Anybody else want to have some ideas or questions for us? And for Blanca?
Well, I really appreciate the presentation tonight, and I'm specifically interested in the accompaniment teams and in joining the church Refugee Resettlement Ministry.
Excellent. Wonderful.
Great.
I'd like to do the accompaniment too. And what I think I'll do on the others is the actions as they come up. So I'll follow the email instructions on who to call and who to write to.
That's an excellent point, Susan. So just because you might not want to be on the hook for a meeting every other week, it doesn't mean that you can't. In fact, we need as many people as possible to be making calls and sending emails and participating in the actions, and also sharing that with your networks, So the more people we get the word out. In fact, sometimes I've gotten the word from several other people after I've sent it out, which is always fun. When things loose back, you know it's getting out there. So anyway.
And both NSM and Tanya have done a great job of getting out emails and letting you know what you can do.
Times when we're all isolated, it's been, and feeling that we have not very much agency, it's been really nice to be a part of these campaigns where you're making phone calls, or you're, particularly with the Thompsons and such, you know, when you're seeing progress happening, to know that something's going on and that people are benefiting and things like that.
Yeah. Sometimes there's some pretty startling things, like when they're about to deport a bunch of children to horrendous, possible to their deaths, that we have been able to take action right away. It's been quite powerful.
And I would say it's really, I'm sorry, Andrew. And I would say it's like, for me, it's like really powerful to know that there are people that are taking different actions, right? That maybe perhaps Tanya comes to the meetings every 2 weeks, but then she has a whole community behind that is also taking time to send letters, to make phone calls. I don't like to use the word army, but I don't know what other word, but it's good to have these 32 congregations and people that don't belong to congregations but still believe in justice for immigrants, to know that they are like doing the work that we need to do. Because in NSM, we are only 4 staff.
Yeah.
So if we, 4.
We know.
So it's Mcbride, our communications person, Peter, and I, the co-directors, and Maria doing accompaniment. We're planning to hire 2 more people to be able to like sustain all of the work. But if we don't have all of you doing the action work, perhaps I's receiving 4 emails for Blanca that they don't even care who she is, it's really powerful. So having the entire community behind, it's extremely powerful.
When I participated in a La Red action sort of meeting a few months ago, and they were urging us to go back to our communities and see about training for showing up at churches where there were folks in sanctuary, so that, you know, if ICE came or something like that, you know, we'd receive training to know how to show up for that. And I'm wondering if that is still something that is relevant and needed. I think we all want to believe that because things have changed, maybe less so, but I'm wondering what your opinion is of whether that's needed, and if that's something that also New Sanctuary Movement does or encourages.
Yeah, we are watching closely these 100 days that President Biden has put out to see what would be the new priorities for deportation, because the fact is that President Obama as well had their priorities, and it was a total disaster. There was not for any reason that he was called the deportation in chief. And Trump, of course, like did it more public of what was happening actually behind the ground. And he was more aggressive publicly and openly, no shame. But we are watching that very closely, because even if it says only dangerous people are going to be deported, we know that immigration lies and come to our communities and they deport everybody they find on the street. So we are definitely alert, and we definitely will be with our eyes open to actions like that, Andrew.
Maybe one of the things we can do is maybe plan in a couple months, kind of a policy debriefing. Where are we with this? Where we can have a chance to kind of come together. If people are interested, we can send you an invite through your emails, and just revisit where we're at, because it is really going to take all our eyes on this to keep things in line and to undo a lot of the damage done to immigrants. Okay, anybody else? Questions, comments? I know we're coming close to the end of our time together. I cannot tell you how much it means to me that you took the time tonight to be here and, to learn. And it means so much to me, Blanca, that you took the time to do this, because I know how hard you are working. And it really, amen. It really means so much that you're doing this. So thank you.
We need all of us. We need all of us.
All of us. Absolutely. I love that image. Like, I might be going to one of the meetings, but I have a whole slew of people right there waiting. And each of us hopefully will feel that way as we step up to different things, that we indeed have a lot of people behind us to help us. Very much like the reflection that was reading at the beginning. We are all planting seeds and watering and part of a much longer journey that God has for us. So thank you. If no one else has any questions or anything, yes? You want a picture.
We want a picture, and I want to point out that Blanca put an action step in the chat.
Awesome.
So if your chat is open, take a look at that. Put a great action step up there for us. Do you want to say more about it, Blanca?
Mm-hmm. Do you want to say anything about it, Blanca? Or?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we are pushing one more week of letter writing to ICE and PA legislators that are listed on that chat to push immigration to grant Carmela's case. So there is some sample language that you can use. You can add your own to the sample language as well. The more letters, the better. Our goal is to push 300 letters. I think we're up to 200 at this point. We need 100 more letters. So if you want to pass it to your networks, if you want to write a letter yourself, that would be really amazing.
And there have been a few legislators who consistently have been actually supportive. And I know, I'm trying to remember, Congressman.
Congressman Dwight Evans, Congressman Fitzpatrick did like one or two things. Congresswoman Scanlon and Dean and what is the other one? Senator Casey has been doing less things. He always just says like, yeah, we're checking. Yeah, we're doing this. They sign a letter, kind of gives us the rundown to actually do anything meaningful.
But I think Evans has been consistently supportive. Mm-hmm. So anyone who wants to thank Evans for that support, I think that would also be something helpful to do. But thank you for posting that in there, Carmen, for Carmela.
Great. And we can send the link to you, Tanya, so you share with the full group, because somebody's saying that it doesn't work. So we can make sure that you get that.
Yeah, I'll send things out. Well, actually, I think it might be Natalie who sends it out. I don't know. I'll email a bunch of stuff to Natalie to send out to your emails, along with the PDF of the PowerPoint that we had today.
Great.
Okay. Yes.
And you wanted a screenshot, Blanca?
We can do that if people want to and want to.
Okay with us doing a screenshot for just to get out the word that this is happening.
So make sure your video's on.
Video and your best
smile.
Zoom smile.
Unless you don't want to be on it, you can turn off your video.
Yes.
Sure. Say sanctuary.
Sanctuary.
Yeah, sanctuary. One more time.
Sanctuary.
All right, got it. Great.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Okay, I'm going to just take a moment to close this out with a very short prayer. God, our loving creator, thank you for this time with Blanca and the opportunity to learn more about the tasks we can be part of. Move in us and through us so that we may discern how best to do your work, to be the ministers you call us to be. Help us in this beginning and allow us to be open to opportunity for the Lord's grace to enter and do the rest. In your name we pray.
Amen.